Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a video based off of a blog post which I originally published on the 12th of June of 2023, and this is ridiculous reasons for giving one-star reviews, primarily for, like books and films. It's just like some people, they're not actually giving reasons why they personally didn't like it. It's just like, oh, this petty ranting and stupidity and like totally missing the point of what the actual story was supposed to be about. So anyway, many times well-written, thoughtful one-star reviews can be more helpful and honest than five-star reviews that do nothing but mindlessly regurgitate the same canned phrases and praises over and over again. However, there are unfortunately also many people who don't understand the difference between a real one-star review based on serious reasons and an off-topic rant. We've who hasn't, been there and done that. You're like perusing the reviews at Amazon's and Goodreads, and suddenly this one-star rant. Oh, the author didn't do this, and the author didn't do that. Oh, he should have done that, and she should have done this instead, and like writing in a completely different style, and like these characters should have gotten together instead of breaking up, or should have like done this and that. So you write a story with those exact specifications. Don't rant because someone else wrote a story that wasn't the way you would have done it, Your Majesty. And so these are some of the common reasons which I have seen for such ridiculous one-star reviews over the years. Number one, complaining about third-party sellers, damaged merchandise, or people who used your credit card without permission to buy the product, or other like serious non-reasons. You're not reviewing the actual item, like what's going on upstairs. Some of these people even say they love that book or album or whatever, but still gave it a one-star review because it had a torn cover or took 10 weeks to arrive. Or I think this is the most ridiculous one-star review reason I've seen recently. This woman was ranting. She gave at Amazon a jigsaw puzzle a bad review because, oh, I couldn't open the box after I like opened the package. It was like glued really tight around the sides, so because you can't figure out how to like open a box or get a knife or scissors or whatever to open it, that you're giving the whole product one star. Like seriously, like what is going on when these people do it? And another one, this woman actually replied to me when I said this isn't a review. Like I wasn't even like bashing or trying to be rude. I was just saying this is not a reason for giving it a one-star review. She complained, oh, someone used my credit card to buy this book about a cat on the Titanic without my permission or knowledge, and this is poor parenting by proxy. Like, that's not a reason you're driving the average review down just because of your little rant, or because you couldn't, like, sort this out with the person who actually, like, stabbed you in the back. And these people, like, oh, third-party sellers screwed me. Like, well, take it up with them. That's not the actual product you're reviewing. Like, do you even understand what the review section is supposed to be all about? Number two, even better, ranting about alleged customer service issues, only to get a reply from the company telling a totally different side of the story. You look like a total liar and petty person when it's revealed, for example, you went right to publicly trashing a company or seller without first contacting them to try to resolve the issue, that you had several emails with customer service and presumably resolved it, or your package was tracked as arriving on a certain date and it was not stolen by porch pirates. Number three, not reading the FAQ before ordering. It's your own fault if you didn't know how much shipping and handling would be, how long shipping would take, or that no two products are alike since they're all handmade. Like, seriously, just do your homework. Don't just go right to smashing the purchase button. Like seriously, again, I just don't know how some of these people's minds work. Number four, not reading the product description before ordering. Like, isn't that a given? Again, it's your own damn fault if you didn't realize something was a romance novel, a children's book, a black and white film, or a 300-page notebook. Why would you want to drive down the average rating just because you can't read? Number five, outright admitting that's not a genre they like anyway, such as the unhinged girl who gave me such a vitriolic one-star review on Goodreads. Then why did you ever bother reading the book if you knew that going in that's not to your tastes, and you couldn't check your prejudices at the door to give it a fair chance? And this, I have a whole video about this. I might do a shorter version of this as well. It's like the whole time, it's like there were 0 paragraph breaks. This was, I'm not exaggerating or being hyperbolic when I say her little, not really little, but you know what I mean. Her review was like novella length. It must have been like 20, 30,000 words and just like, you didn't write like this and you didn't put these characters together and you didn't focus on this and you did this and this. And like, hello, this is called alternative history for a reason. It's not supposed to, do exactly what was in real history. And because like in real life, these people like were murdered when they were so young, like we can't really tell for sure what they would have done or like, how they would have like shaped their personal beliefs had they actually lived into like adulthood or gotten away from their, like toxic, emotionally incestuous family. So like seriously, you can't just like rant because it's not the way you would have done it. If she obviously like realized early on that the story was not what she liked at all, so why did you keep reading it just so you could write this like nasty like ranting hate review against me because I actually, did something like original for like actual like drama and like tension and like an original angle instead of just you buy the book. So she totally confirmed my, negative feelings. Sorry, not sorry about these like obsessed like Romanov fangirls, sorry, not sorry. Number 6, not bothering to read the synopsis again. Like, what's going on? This was also the case with The Bully on Goodreads. My synopsis clearly states a number of things she took such enraged issue with, like that Arcadia, the Empress, is 7 years older than Alexei, and that Alexei avoids coming to the throne in his own right as long as possible because he's convinced he's too young and inexperienced. Like, seriously, did she not read the synopsis at all before she ordered it, and she just like assumed, oh, it must be a romantic fairy tale because that's what everyone in my little teenage Romanov fangirl circle does when we write fan fiction. Number 7, on the flip side, feeling fooled by a misleading synopsis. This has happened to me with a number of books, like how The Invisible Bridge is depicted as a sweeping saga about 3 brothers on the eve of World War II, when it's really only the insipid, unrealistic love story of one of the brothers, apparently based on the author's like grandparents. Like, if that really was their real life love story, wow, what a boring story they had. Some books still manage to be good despite a synopsis, making it sound like a much different type of story, and I will be doing a future video ranting about that book. It was just like pretty much everything you could think of was wrong with it. Like, thinking about it makes me angry. I have so many things to rant about this book. Number 8, feeling misled by the title. Like, for example, I had last year read Justinian's Flea about the plague of Justinian, and many reviewers are angry that the plague isn't the entire focus and doesn't immediately appear. The author never pretends the book is meant to be just about the plague. His purpose is to show how many different things came together and ultimately climaxed in the plague, which helped to hasten the demise of the Roman Empire and the start of the Middle Ages. Number 9, inability to check your own views at the door. It's ridiculous to, for example, denounce a book as blasphemous because it's about someone who loses his faith after his wife and child are killed in a car accident, or someone who's exploring many different religions to find one that most speaks to her soul. Books aren't meant as confirmation bias for everything you believe, and if you really do think, oh, books should only be like the morals and the religious beliefs and the political views I have, like seriously, like you're very closed minded, and I kind of, feel sorry for you having that like restrictive worldview. Number 10, making a mountain out of a molehill. I was 100% guilty of this in many of my old Amazon and Angel Fire reviews, but at least I never gave any of these products a single star in response. It's fair to say, for example, a certain scene really disturbed you and hasn't aged well, or that you were uncomfortable with the author casually expressing her own polarizing opinions in a narrative breaking the fourth wall, and presuming every reader must share those views. It's not fair to judge the entire book poorly and spend hundreds of words ranting against it for those reasons. I recently read an IMDb review of the film Journey for Margaret, 1942, where the 1-star rating was based on how Margaret and Peter's future adoptive father doesn't discipline these very traumatized children for their extremely realistic PTSD reactions, and ranting about how, I thought kids in those days were so much better behaved. These children survived the Blitz, and Margaret lost her mom, and she was like disciplined, presumably, I guess, physically by a previous foster family because she had the absolute chutzpah and audacity. Oh, how dare you to cry for her dead mom and her missing family and the trauma she's gone through, and this guy, how dare you not take them out to the woodshed and spank them until they can't sit down for a month. I thought kids then were better behaved and had better discipline. Like, seriously, you're missing the whole point of the story when you just rant like that. Number 11, ranting against young characters for acting like actual children instead of unnaturally well-behaved little Lord Fauntleroys. Imagine that, a 12-year-old who's not BFFs with her mother, or an 8-year-old who sneaks eating candy in bed. The absolute horror, and I do have a upcoming video talking about the last two books in the American Girl Rebecca series. Like, one of the things a couple of reviewers at Goodreads and Amazon are ranting about, oh, I don't like how Rebecca keeps secrets from her parents in these books. That's not a good message for children, and she's lying all the time and acting like it's this like huge like major secret, like, abuse or something, or a teacher is telling her to keep secrets. It's just like, oh, she's like doing things because she's like experiencing independence, like she's like going off on her own at Coney Island instead of staying with her chauvinistic older brother, like holding the tickets hostage. And she's like going to a movie studio with her older cousin Max because she wants to be an actress, and her family doesn't approve of, like making movies and other things like that. It's like, seriously, so what's the whole plot of these stories if she's not keeping the secrets and she doesn't have this quandary? Oh, should I tell my family I did this thing? And it's like, this sounds like the kind of person who believes, oh no, we don't have locks in this family and we don't even close our doors. You should just happily expect like anyone to come into your room at any time, even if your a bratty little brother wants to come in and like steal your stuff and destroy like a precious like project or like family heirloom you got, or you should just have no problem if your creepy like prying parents want to come into your room at 10 o'clock at night to see if you're like doing something sexual with yourself. It's just like, seriously, do these reviewers not believe children deserve any privacy? I kind of like feel sorry for their kids being like taught, oh, mommy has to know everything her little snowflake is doing at every single hour, and you can't read books about normal children, actually like actual children, instead of these like perfect goodies from an 18th century morality play. Sorry, not sorry. Number 12, taking issue with the book's entire premise or a character's actions. There would be no story if, for example, in Forever Amber, Amber St. Clair had stayed in Marygreen instead of running away to London with Bruce, or if a couple had resolved their issues and reconciled after 20 pages. Like, seriously, so where's the plot? Or I said in a recent video in the longer long form video, like with the in-depth discussion and review of Forever Amber. So if she, decides to settle down with Captain Rex Morgan, she lives happily ever after, stops chasing after Bruce, or Bruce puts his foot down much earlier on and stops, like leading Amber to believe, oh, we have a chance now because I keep coming back to her whenever I'm, in London, even though I keep telling her I don't want to marry her. She's not the kind of woman I see myself forever with, but I'm still going to sleep with her and like keep fathering children with her. So the story's pretty much over. There's no real like dramatic tension. Like, there it goes, like what the author intended, just because you think you would have written a much better story. So try to write about, boring real life, like nothing really happens, but oh, everyone is good and moral and there's no dramatic tension. Like, seriously, like these people just like they just don't understand how the writing process actually works and why authors like choose certain storylines and plot elements, because they want to do something called the like original angles and dramatic tension, instead of, oh, Name had a perfect life, Name never did anything wrong, Name had the perfect relationship, this like partner never cheated, or nothing wrong ever happened in their lives together or individually, they were happy and perfect forever, the end. Like, what? Number 13, constantly complaining about everything and ranting against the author for not doing all these things you would have done. Here's an idea. You can write a book with those exact specifications if it bothers you so much. Like, seriously. Number 14, making a bunch of general criticisms without giving specific examples of any of these alleged faults. Like, for example, oh, there wasn't any tension, or it was boring, or I didn't like this character, or this character was immoral, or whatever. Like, so you can't actually explain what you're actually talking about, so we might like agree with you or look through the book to see what exactly you're talking about. Like, seriously, don't like vague book it. Number 15, spending almost the entire review praising a writer, band, or actor you like a lot more. Then go review their stuff instead. Don't be like, oh, this is the worst album or book ever. Compare that to my favorite writer or singer or like actor or whatever. Like, their work is always constantly, on point and fresh and wonderful. Here's some information about their latest album or book. I'm giving a detailed review of that. You should go check that out instead of wasting your time on this boring, ugly freak who doesn't do anything right. Like, I just don't understand how like many of these people's like minds work. Like, did they even like go to school? Did they learn how to write a book review in first grade, and like teachers aren't going to tell you, oh, just talk about this instead and don't address anything in the actual book and just complain because it wasn't the way you would have written it. Like seriously, like the educational system is such a failure today. Number 16, claiming it's completely unbelievable how an actor would play a character the exact opposite of his or her real life behavior. It's called acting for a reason. Like seriously. Thank you very much for watching. Please consider leaving a comment. I really want to have conversations with you guys and make more friends on booktube and authortube. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I will see you guys again very soon with a new video. And thanks again for watching. Bye.